Alright, it's day 2 of the pull. I'm not going to be able to do a lot of things all at once because, well, you know, family. Soccer practice and kid and wife and all that stuff. But today, let's try to get the cruise control module off, and then I dump the oil so we can get the radiator and try to get the whole radiator fan shroud thing out. I don't have any cruise control features right now. I don't plan on running cruise control. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this control unit off and take the throttle body or throttle cable off. And that way that will clear up some space and it'll allow me to undo that plug. So the cruise control has one bolt here, one bolt here, and then there is a nut. Find it? There's a nut right here, and that'll allow you to pull it back, but there still is, you know, you have the vacuum out here and pull that. Then you got to get this off. Alright, and don't forget your cruise control cable and your throttle cable. These are 14s. We'll just get them in. We just want to get them loosened up enough to be able to slide off their brackets. Alright, once you get them to where they can slide off their brackets, you have the actual throttle that you'll need to down. I guess the wire comes down, and then there's a little hole. It's hard to show, it's so dark. Basically there's a little lever in there, and you got to move the throttle enough, or the cable around, and just slide it right on out. So you can see right here the throttle basically slides in and it's held on by this end. So if you have a cruise control, you'll slide it out this way. Throttle cable slides out the other way. So you just open it up to give it enough slack. Okay, last thing to get the cruise control off is this little bracket on this side. Open it up and you can pull the cruise control out. Now that you got the throttle cable loose on the end, depending on how much stock equipment you still have left, I still have this retainer. You just pull it down, and then this will give you all enough room to be able to put it on the LS. So we'll just pull this out of the way because we want to save this and use this. Alright, well, let's switch gears from dealing with up here, and let's go ahead and let's get the radiator drained. And there's a couple different ways. I mean, you can take off the rear radiator hose, and you know, that will be a little bit faster. Or most radiators on the bottom on one side or the other will have a little petcock valve. You'll just, you know, twist open and let it run out. So I'm going to check for that, and I have my trusty little pan to catch all the fluid. If it's just distilled water, I'm just going to throw it out. If it's antifreeze, I'll find a way to dispose that. Alright, so I can't find the petcock on the bottom. I haven't jacked up the car yet, so I'm going to take the top radiator hose off. That will give me enough clearance to get this stock shroud out. And I'm not overly worried about, you know, stuff spilling on. There's not that much in the top, I think, but I'll put it put it down there anyways. right into the bucket. Kind of hard getting it around the fan. I might just have to get this. Just might have to pull the radiator out. But getting this out of the way, I can see the bottom now, so I should be able to get that off. All right, I took off the lower radiator hose and the upper radiator hose. Now we'll just get these radiator supports. This was off when I did one of the other things, maybe an air cleaner, or it was always off. We'll get this one off. I know the air intake bolted up to this one. Put the nut back on, and on this side, this off, put that back on. Then I take this overflow off. I'll leave the overflow on here because I'll probably use it again. Radiator should come lifting right out. I got the radiator out, fan shroud. That's why this really didn't want to come. Had the fan shroud wiring. Well, let's get this out. And I could see that already this gives us a hell of a lot more room to pull out the engine. Plus it'll probably allow me to get down into the bottom engine harness to get the alternator starter stuff off as well. Alright, it's coming along. Alright, now that the radiator's out, I'm going back over here and I'm following the wiring that's coming out of the firewall, and I still have this control module and stuff for the cruise control, so I'm going to get the rest of this out. Once I get that out, I think I might take the fuel system off, or get the fuel hoses off, and then deal with some of this stuff back here, maybe the heater hoses as well. You know, I've gotten tired of bending over in front of this engine, so I'm just going to go ahead and take off the hood by myself. I'm going to be replacing these fenders and the hood and stuff like that, so I don't really care if it gets a little bit scratched. I'm just going to do it single person, just me. That was not super hard, just need a little bit of work. That should give me a lot more space and save me from having to do it later when the engine comes out. Alright, let's keep going. I am still working on clearing up this little rat's nest of cruise control stuff. I went ahead and unplugged the EGR stuff that was against the strut tower wall. I was able to get this off. clean this up. Might end up just zip tying that up. Now I think I can get the fuel rail.
Alright, I got the fuel hoses off. But this EGR stuff is wanting to be a pain, so I'm just gonna move it up as far as I can and try to zip tie it onto something. That way I can just keep it out of the way. I don't have to worry about it snagging on anything when I'm pulling it out, because it keeps wanting to fall down and snag on the fuel stuff. So get that pulled up out of the way. That's good. So we need to get this EGR hose off and get the needle nose here. And there's really not so many things that you have to take off to get this engine out. Not like a lot of the newer cars that have so much other crap all on top. Alright, got this off as well. Got a ground wire, another pretty big ground wire. Let's see if you can see it. There it is. Got a ground wire right here. I got to get off. I'm assuming that's a 14. Gotta be like Nissan to have a bunch of different sizes. Alright, that's a 12. So that ground right there goes to the battery. That's the battery terminal ground. So we'll get a nice extension on here and be able to get that off. Battery terminal ground is off the block. Fuel rails are off. I think I should get the heater hoses now. They're over on this side. See if we can get a close up and show you the heater hoses. So obviously those coming out and they go into the block. Right there. So let's get those off. Alright, got the heater hoses off. You can see right there. And it left this connector right there. That connector right there exposed, so I'm going to get that one off. Alright, I got that plug off and I followed the wire. It goes right up into this one. I got this off. I'm going to take this off and then back through there. Trying to get all the engine stuff so it just comes right on out. Probably pretty soon I need to get inside the engine, or inside the car and take off the ECU and get those plugs and push it through, but not quite yet. Okay, not necessary if you're just pulling a KA and putting it back in, but I got it all the way out. It was all zip tied and fastened to the the rail over there. So I got it all out, and all I need to do now is unplug the plugs and I can pull out the whole engine harness. Alright, at this point I am ready to get the engine harness out. So we're going to come down here and get access to the ECU, and our first bolt is 14. Alright, so you got the one bolt to get the cover off, and then you just pull it to the side, and then we have a 10 millimeter here, 10 millimeter there, and then one all the way in the back. And that will allow us to get the ECU out.